What's cracking, guys? Omar here, your favorite pirate, back with another video, back from the Arnold. I gotta give a quick shout out to everyone that came up to me, said what's up, all the supporters. I love and appreciate the support, and honestly, I find it motivating. It motivates me to try and produce better content for 2018, content that could directly help out your training, your goal of getting bigger, stronger, and maybe a little leaner. Hence the video today. Are all reps created equal? And the argument in this video is going to be no, that there are certain ways of training that are more effective for hypertrophy. I'm sure you've heard me say this before, probably about 100 times, that volume is a key driver for hypertrophy. What does that mean? Well, Dr. Brad Schoenfeld has shown that over time, you should be handling more total work being done, more total volume in your training. You can't just keep doing 10 hard sets per muscle group every single training session. If you do that year to year, your body will stagnate. You need to be handling more volume gradually over time. Volume is a key driver for hypertrophy. But in that volume, are all reps created equal? And the answer in this video, I'm going to say no. So this is the next step. If we all know that volume's really good, handling more total volume, the next question is, what about the reps? And the answer is that you should be doing more effective reps. What I mean by that? Well, before I go on, I have to give a quick shout out to Alan Aragon for his research review. You should be subscribed. It's a monthly research review. I'm not endorsed. I pay the $10 like everybody else. That gives a lot of really good recent research or people talking about that research and their takes on it. And the lead article, a man by the name of Carl, talked about this. Are all reps created equal? And sometimes you read an article and you just think to yourself, wow, this is all explained very clearly. And this also agrees with all my training experience, and I can say this is the case. He put forth the idea that effective reps, and so effective reps are reps closer to failure. So if you're doing, let's say, 70% of your 1 rep max, the reps on the latter half, as it gets more and more difficult, would be more effective for hypertrophy than your earlier reps. And there is some evidence to support this. Here's what I mean. They did a study, I believe it was about a decade ago, and they made one group, so group A, do 3 to 5 sets of their 10 rep max. And they would do 10 reps, rest, do another set, 10 reps, rest, so on and so forth. Group B, on the other hand, did 5 reps, chilled out for 30 seconds, and then finished their last 5 reps. So 5 reps, pause for 30 seconds, and then 5 more reps. And guess what happened? The group that went straight away, that did the entire 10 reps without pausing, experienced a lot more hypertrophy than the group that did not. So the group that went straight away, just did 10 reps in a row, experienced greater gains than the group that did 5 reps with the same load, paused, took 30 seconds off, just chilled out, and then did 5 more reps. And I think this is a compelling case. The author of this article states that probably it has to do with metabolic stress, which is one of the key drivers for hypertrophy, as put forth by Brad Schoenfeld. It's probably metabolic stress that is causing this to happen, but effective reps are very important. And this is intuitive. We all kind of understand this. If I was to tell you right now, what would build more muscle? Doing 5 sets of 1 repetition at 85%, or doing 1 set of 5 repetitions at 85%. I'm sure most of you would agree that 1 set of 5 repetitions at 85% would yield greater hypertrophy. Just think about it. Yeah, it's true. Both of them have the same total amount of work being done. So both have 5 total reps. But when you do 1 set of 5, rep 3, 4, and 5 will be more difficult. If you just did 5 sets of 1, you're probably not challenging your body enough. Your body needs to be perturbed to change. It's comfortable being in homeostasis. And I think a lot of people kind of know this, but how do we apply this to ourselves? And this is one of the big distinctions when I've talked about, I have a shirt that says strength over abs right here, that strength training is different than hypertrophy training. You see, in strength, you want to be able to maximize your strength, how strong you are. And in order to do that, you got to leave a lot of reps in the tank. So your RPEs are RPE 7, 8, maybe 9, because you want to focus on the quality of work. Total volume is less. On the other hand, if your goal is to build size, then you want to be pushing the volume and pushing the intensity. And by intensity, I don't mean 70% or 80%, but the intensity of the sets that you're doing. And so recently what I've done, and I'll make a whole video on this, rep set schemes that are effective, I feel, for hypertrophy, is that I've been gradually increasing the reps that I do and the difficulty therein for those sets. As an example, I started with a 5x5 way back, so this is week 1 of my current hypertrophy block. as you guys know, I'm going in a lean mass phase. I want to build muscle. So week 1 was 5x5, and I started at 70%, worked all the way up to 80%. So that's 405 on the squat, let's say, for me. So I did 5x5. Then I moved back down and I did 4x6. I moved all the way back up to about 80%. Move back down. Now it's 4x8 repetitions. I started at 70%. And to add a little bit extra flavor into these sets, I did the first 4 reps with constant tension, which means that I did not pause at all. And so the idea is taking the intensity of the set, which means how close I am to failure, closer and closer as this training block continues. So 8 reps at 70% is fine. I have DOMs the next day just doing this already. But when I go to 72.5, 75%, probably get up to 77.5, those 4 sets of 8, I'm going to be approaching quite close to failure on those sets. Not all the way there, but they will be RPE 9s as opposed to RPE 7. And so some people might just think to themselves, oh, this means just train harder. Yeah, to some extent, but this is where periodizing your training is very important, because if you just keep going to failure, directly to failure, your body, there is such a thing, there is a known phenomenon known as overtraining. And so this is where your body can't recover effectively. So I'm not saying you should go directly to failure. In fact, I'm saying you should flirt with training at higher intensities. Again, intensity here is defined not as the percentage you're training in, but how close you are to failure, effective reps as we called them before. But you have to make sure, like Icarus, you don't go too close to the sun so that you get burned. And so I would put forth, if your goal is to build muscle, make sure in the main movement you choose an exercise, so set rep scheme that is closer to failure than you would for a strength block. So do a 4x8 at 70%, 72.5, 75%. See how that feels. You should be flirting with failure but not going there. And then when it comes to isolation movements, yeah, like I said before, go to failure. Do drop sets. In fact, the author of this article talks about doing drop sets or just rest pause to do even more total repetitions in your training program. I think you could do that for isolation movements. It's better served there. But this video was all about talking whether or not all reps are created equal. I think it's quite clear that volume is integral when it comes to building muscle. But what type of reps do you do? You should be focusing on effective reps. And this is once again where building muscle is different than strength training. Anyways, that is all the time we have in this video. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked the video, I'm looking right at you. If you like gains, like the damn video, and I'll see all you guys, my rascals, in that next video. Last announcement, make sure to check out our podcast, myself and Sound Mike. We're uploading every Tuesdays and Fridays. It's on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, and YouTube. Link in the description. Peace. Platonic implies that it's not sexual, so...
Why are you talking about, like, earthquakes and stuff? What does that have to do with
It all depends on the mood.
Tectonic plates and shit. Els, where are you from?
Iraq.
Els, just before we go on, if you had to describe Iraq in 2 words, what would you say? I have some idea, but I don't know. Would you say it's the bomb?
Wah, wah, wah.
Els makes all these jokes off camera and then...
No,
Wow!
I would
Just so
say,
you know.
I don't have 2 words for it, but I would say when I was there, when I was living there, it wasn't exactly what you saw on television.
Yeah.
Every single piece of televised bit of Iraq that you've seen is just basically the shitstorm that was already going down or that had already gone down. And basically when you actually live there, it's way nicer. People are friendlier. And the environment is much cleaner than it appears. So, like, there wasn't exactly a fucking car explosion on every street corner. But at the same time, I do recall a time in my life where my dad was putting up tape across the windows so that the explosions in the distance would not affect our house.
You remember some of this?
Yes.
No,
so
he remember seeing dead bodies on TV all the time.
That was the thing they used to do. So propaganda was a really big thing, part of the Saddam Hussein regime, basically. And I'm not too politically informed when it comes to this, but I do know he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, fair.
He's no George Bush, but then again, I mean, which political leader is exactly perfect?
I heard Saddam's hanging around somewhere or whatever.
I hope not.
No, I mean, he got hung.
Is this the hardest photo of the 90s? And hardest photo, bro. Hardest photo.
I'm gonna know it.
I hope
no
so.
one can
if
see
you
it.
don't,
So no one's gonna see it. Why are we bringing this up?
because we'll say it.
Oh, okay.
And if
So
you don't
everyone
know it, our friendship may be over, bro.
Okay.
Why are you looking? Why are you teasing? Ready?
Well, you're
3,
showing-
2, 1.
Yeah. The Mighty Ducks, of course. Quack.
I am not aware of this.
Quack. 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 What are you doing? You're overloading everyone's ears right now.
dating? Is Tinder where people meet?
Yes and no. I would say like there's just
Some
the convenience.
obviously must be said.
The convenience of things is nice.
Yeah.
But I would say it does add a lot of disconnect. And I think the same problems that everyone has always had, which is, just finding that one person or finding a person.
Yeah, breaking the ice, perhaps.
Pretty much is, I think those problems have been magnified because of how saturated everything is. So girls trying to find that perfect guy, it just got harder. Things didn't get better because of Tinder.
They just watch him on YouTube in a bandana.
Yeah.
The
There you go.
perfect
God,
guy.
so fucking dreamy.